Hey, it's Ayla, and you are listening to Not That Kind of CEO. I want to talk to you about morning routines today because my mornings currently are absolute chaos. Kids, dogs, cats, the things falling in the castle somewhere because that's what happens when you live in a 500-year-old castle. There is always something that needs to be done, something to be managed. And in the middle of all, I caught myself thinking about the future version of me, the one who is actually really calm, like weirdly calm. I like to sit with that for bits and pieces. It's something I've been doing a lot lately, tapping into my future self. I'm actually on this really cool quest to manifest my future. And I know that sounds, to some of you, it might sound like someone else is manifesting things. And to others, it is just very logical because you're manifesting everything in your life. So, also this future version of yourself. I feel like I can really tap into who she is, and she is very calm. And I'm always like, how? How do you get to be so calm? Because she also has the same kids. She has the same castle. She has the same chaos that I have right now. The only difference is that she's very, well, she's also very thin, but she's also calm. Apparently, she's got everything managed that I haven't yet managed. So it turns out that there's an answer. And it's not what you think. It's not, I promise you, I would never, okay, maybe never say never, but right now, I would not wake up at 4 a.m. and then meditate for an hour. If I were to do that, I would fall right back asleep, wake up at 5, very groggy, and then just go, huh? What happened? It's way smaller than that. It's got a 6-week deadline that's built into your brain. Most people don't even know about this. Today, I want to walk you through exactly how I built a morning routine that actually survives my life. So that would be the real life castle version and not the Pinterest and talk about it on a podcast version. But, create a morning routine that serves me right now and helps me manifest that future that I want to manifest. So, if that's interesting to you, stay tuned. Hi, I'm Ayla, and I am not that kind of CEO. You won't find me in a fancy corner office, but rather in a quiet corner of my home. I followed a bold vision and built my life and business around it. That's how I ended up in France, where I'm raising 2 little girls, renovate our 500-year-old castle together with my husband, run a coaching business, and still have space to breathe. After a decade of helping women simplify their business to make room for what matters most, I created this show to help you do the same. Let's build your business around the life you love. Welcome to Not That Kind of CEO. Setting the tone for your day is setting the tone for your future. Any decision that you make today has a reflection on what your future is going to look like. This means that having a super good morning routine means that you are setting yourself up to step into the shoes of your future self. Researchers have found that stable, predictable morning routines are linked to better physical well being, better mental health. But more importantly, disrupted, unstable routines are actually linked to anxious feelings and depressive symptoms. So, assuming that you are seeing a bright and happy future for yourself, setting yourself up with a good morning routine is imperative. Now, I know, if life were only so perfect that you could just start every day with a calm and 3-hour peaceful morning routine to set the tone for your day. I know that life can get very lively, and some days just happen to start in utter chaos. But what matters here is that you know how important it is to have a solid morning routine and that you actually want that because you want to set yourself up for future success. So, having that want and need in place means that even if you have a day or a bunch of days that start in chaos, you will revert back to your number one morning routine for success. First things first. I know you're watching this and just going, oh yes, a morning routine. Let's have it. If you want to change your morning routine, Start slowly. Start by just adjusting one thing in your current morning routine. If you are trying to overhaul your entire morning routine into something that your future self would do, there's a big fat chance that it's too much change at once. You'll fall off the wagon and then it's just gone. It's just disappeared. So if you want to change your morning routine to something that your future self would do, start by adding in one thing now. And then when you have that in your system, you can slowly add in something else. That's how you set yourself up for success and not having it all fall to pieces every time something happens. For me, what I recently did is I want to start my day with a morning walk for multiple reasons. And I decided to get up an hour earlier than I normally would, even though I'm a big advocate of not getting up earlier. Despite that, I was like, yes, okay, I'm going to do it. Am I immediately going to get up an hour earlier than I normally would? No. I am setting my alarm back 15 minutes until it's in my system, and then another 15 minutes until it's in my system. And that's how I gradually move back to getting up an hour earlier. If I go for the hour immediately, I'm gonzo the moment something wakes me up late and I'm like, ugh, never mind, this went to shit. So, assuming that you want to change some things in your morning routine and you are going to gradually add them in, start by defining what the morning routine of your future self looks like. Because you're not pulling this out of thin air. You want to change your morning routine because somewhere in your future is a version of yourself. And you're like, huh? How does she get to be so calm in my case? I'm I'm usually not that calm, but somehow my future self is very calm. And so I went to ask her, how did you get so calm? And she said, well, I have time for myself in the morning. This, of course, all played out into my head. I cannot actually time travel. I am an Aries moon. I need to start my day with movement. I am also an introvert. I need some solitude. And I get really cranky if my kids wake me up in the morning. I don't have that moment to just land in my body, to just start my day myself, and then be in service of other humans immediately. I tend to be much calmer throughout the day if I have that little bit of me time and movement in the morning. So, what are you going to do? A walk in the morning. And that's what I decided to add first. In an ideal world, I would add in some journaling. I would add in some gratitude, maybe some meditation, visualization. I like that in the morning because it sets the tone for the rest of my day. But the reality is that my kids need to be at school at 9. They need to get dressed and fed, and dogs and cats and heat management or cold management. I mean, it's a castle. There's always some kind of management to be done. So my ideal morning and my current reality actually differ a lot from each other. So you have those two factors there. Then you're going to add in your chronotype. I'm a late morning chronotype, which means I get up at 7. That's for me, that's the good time. Go to bed at 11, wake up at 7. And then my best hours of the day are roughly between like 9 and 12. So if I am immediately like, oh, I'm going to get up at 4 and then I'm going to do all these things to set my day, it actually works backwards because that's too early for me, at least right now it is. So I would the rest of the day feel behind and feel groggy and feel cranky. That's not going to work. So taking these three things into account, I said, okay, my ideal morning routine consists of at least a walk in the morning all by myself to just start the day. Then I can get my kids ready for school. Then I can do some journaling, some gratitude. And that, all in all, is going to be my ideal future self's morning routine. So that's what you got to decide for yourself. What are the factors? Why are they there? And how do they fit in with that future version of you? You have that set up, and now it's up to you to actually trust the process because this is where it gets hard. Life will get lively, as we have already established. You are gonna at some point lose the new thing that you were trying to add into your morning routine, and you want to revert back to it. Research shows that if you add something new into your routine, it lives in your prefrontal cortex. I don't know where your prefrontal cortex is, but I always think it's here because it's prefrontal. It sounds like it should be there. This means that it's a very conscious behavior. You have to think about it. It's there. It's a decision every day. I am going to get up early and get for my walk. Okay. After about 6 weeks, something new that you have added actually moves to another part of your brain, which I'm not even going to try to pronounce. It probably lives in the back and it becomes an automatic behavior. So that's very neat to know because in those 6 weeks, that's probably why they also say that the first few weeks of a new habit are the hardest because it's not yet automatically done. But after about 6 weeks, it moves and then it's ingrained in your habits. So then, new process, new thing to add. But in those first 6 weeks, trust that you're going to get there, even if it feels hard. What I do, something else, and that I find very neat, is adding a performance goal to a routine. And I know that sounds crazy, like athletic or something. This is a concept from Caroline Miller. She writes about it in her book, Big Goals. And I love it because you have two types of goals. You have learning goals and you have performance goals. So if you're learning something, you cannot yet hang a performance goal on it because you're learning something. For me, I hung a performance goal on my morning routine because I tend to loiter in the mirror on my phone getting dressed. I tend to look at my closet, realize I have nothing to wear, which is partly true. And then I just go, I wish I had a new wardrobe. Let's ask Claude what he would buy for me if he were to have my body and my style and blah, blah, blah. And then before you know it, I'm 20 minutes deep into a conversation with an AI robot about what I should be wearing. So I decided, no, enough with that performance goal. After the shower, I'm going to be finished in 15 minutes. So that means putting my eyes in, I don't know, contacts. I'm putting my contacts in, my makeup on, do my hair, put my clothes on, my day cream, stuff like that. 15 minutes should be doable. I'm not high maintenance. That should be fine. And so I made it into a performance goal. 15 minutes. Let's do this. The reason I was able to do this is because I knew exactly where I was losing momentum in my morning routine. I'm very conscious of keeping score of where you're spending more time than you should. Where are you losing momentum? I really feel that when you're trying to improve yourself or your business or whatever, losing momentum is something that just kills it because then you just go, I made a quiz actually for you to take if you're losing momentum in business, but you're not sure where in your business you're losing the momentum. You can take the quiz and find it out. I'll link it up in the notes of this episode. Now, if I may give you some suggestions for your morning routine. There are a few things that I think that you should incorporate in your morning routine. First of all, gratitude, a gratitude practice. I think that gratitude is the language of the universe. It's just when you start thinking in gratitude, everything becomes better. And I always feel that it's very easy to do gratitude at the end of the day because you can just go, this happened and that was cool. And I saw a cute squirrel and that was nice too. And I'm still alive at the end of the day. Wow, nice. 3 things of gratitude. It's easy to reflect back on your day. I find it way harder to start my day with gratitude because, well, nothing yet has happened. And then you can say, yeah, of course, you could just rewind and then write down what you saw yesterday. For me, when I do it in the morning, it means that I'm really actively looking for things that are more general than just this and this happened to me and I'm grateful for it. Or I saw something pretty, or I hugged my kids and she smelled great because kids smell great when you hug them. So whenever I do it in the morning, I tend to really search for something to be grateful for. And when I get into the practice of doing that, I actually stay in that mood all day long. So all day long, I keep searching for things, looking for things to be grateful for. And I actually really like that piece of being grateful for a lot of things and staying in the feeling of gratitude instead of feeling grateful for about 3 minutes a day and then the rest of the day you're just going on about your life. So start with adding in some gratitude practice. 5 minutes. I'm not asking you to sit down for half an hour and just go, no, just write something down at the beginning of your day. Another thing that I would recommend that you add to your morning routine is, and don't scroll away when I say the word, a meditation. A meditation specifically on one question. What is my next aligned action? I love meditating on that question because it's so easy, especially if you're like me and you have a super duper busy life. You have your kids, they need to go to school and the sports and the business and the house and the husband and the dog. There's just so much going on that it's so easy to live completely reactively and just sit behind your desk, check your task list for today and just start going. I love to put in a short meditation. Again, short. I want my morning routine to be short. I don't feel like I have the time yet to do a very long morning routine. So everything in here, except maybe my walk, is quite short. My gratitude is short, my meditation is short as well. Just connect with that future version of yourself. Really feel it, imagine it, try to get her into your body, and then ask, what is my next aligned action? And sometimes you'll go blank. You just go, I don't know. Fine. You open your task list and you go do the things that you wanted to do in the first place. And sometimes something so clear will come through that you're just going, okay, apparently today I need to network and spend some time there or something. Something just comes up and you just go, I haven't thought to do that. But it's so nice to actually be in connection with your future and actually take action on what's coming from there. The last thing that I want to give to you for your morning routine is that it's really important to work with your VARK system. VARK being the way that you prefer to process information. So you have visual, you have auditory, you have reading slash writing, and you have kinesthetic. So these are four very different ways to process information. And I could make a channel about the VARC system and how it works through in all facets of your life. It's fascinating when you start thinking about it and applying it. It's fascinating how much your life will improve. That's a video for another time. If you are a visual person and you set out to go sit down and listen to a meditation, chances are that you're not going to get the same results as when you are going to watch a video, because it's more difficult for you to process something that's just auditory. For your morning routine, it's super important that you try to implement things that are in line with your preferred processing method. So if you are someone who has reading and writing as high up your list as ways to process things, add in a bit where you journal. If you are more auditory, maybe you go on a walk and you talk something out, make a voice note for yourself, or you talk to your AI or your best friend, I don't care to whom, just make it into sounds. Add in movement if you're very kinesthetic. There's variations there. And if you are very kinesthetic, but you are trying to sort of sit still and watch a video about something, chances are that you're going to just sort of droop off into, well, not feeling optimized. And then that again sets the tone for your day. And we've already established that setting the tone for your day sets the tone for your future. So make sure that whatever you add into your morning routine aligns with the way that you prefer things to be. Don't listen to me if I say go write down gratitude. If you're like, oh, I hate writing, I like talking, fine, you talk them out. Adjust them to who you are. All right, so if we just move back and zoom out a little bit, you are going to set up a morning routine that fits in with your future self by adding things in slowly so you can actually implement them and keep them for the long run. You're going to trust that you're going to stick with the process even when your life gets very lifey. Hang performance bits on the pieces of it where you can, where you want to hang a performance goal on it. And then you're going to work with who you are, what you like best, how you process information the best. That way you're setting yourself up for success so hard. If you like this, then you're definitely going to like what's coming up next. Next time, we're going to be talking about how to doubt less, have less decision fatigue, and move forward faster. See you then. Thank you so much for listening to Not That Kind of CEO. If this episode gave you clarity, encouragement, or just even a moment to breathe, I'd love it if you left a review. It helps more women like you find this show, and that means the world to me. And if you're ready to build a business that fits your life, you know where to find me. See you in the next episode.